In the near future, a biotech company, Aeon, revolutionizes the concept of life and time. They develop a groundbreaking technology, allowing individuals to donate years of their lives to anyone whose DNA is compatible. In return for these donated years, donors receive substantial financial compensation. To maintain seamless operations, Aeon employs specialized personnel known as time donation managers. These individuals are tasked with the delicate job of persuading potential donors to part with years of their lives for those who can afford it and require it. If you are enjoying this recap, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Max Toma stands out among the time donation managers. His exceptional skill in negotiating and securing time donations earns him the title of Employee of the Year. Led by CEO Sophie Thyssen, the company now has grand ambitions for Aeon, aspiring to push the boundaries even further by finding ways to control age and death entirely. Her vision is to make immortality attainable, consolidating Aeon's power and influence over life itself. However, this vision faces fierce opposition from an underground organization known as the Atom Group. The Atom Group sees Aeon's practices as morally reprehensible, as the rich grow younger, perpetuating their wealth and power, while the poor, living in slums and refugee camps, are driven to sell their remaining years out of desperation, dying prematurely. To combat this injustice, the Atom Group resorts to drastic measures, executing those who receive life extensions through donations, aiming to disrupt the system that they believe exploits the vulnerable. However, Max remains untroubled by these ethical concerns. He thrives in the system, enjoying a prosperous life with his wife, Elena. The couple is now planning to have children, but Max and Elena's lives are abruptly shattered when their apartment catches fire. It is revealed that the fire was caused by negligence, leading the insurance company to deny coverage for the damages. Max and Elena, who have yet to pay off the loan they took to purchase their luxurious apartment, find themselves in dire straits as they lose everything in the blaze. Now, the bank, demanding the mortgage repayment, threatens to seize their remaining assets. In a shocking revelation, Max discovers that Elena had put 40 years of her life as collateral when they secured the loan. Desperate to save Elena from this grim fate, Max offers to donate some of his lifetime to cover the debt. However, he learns that the person who was his match recently passed away, making him ineligible to donate his years. In a final bid for help, Max turns to Sophie Thyssen, hoping the CEO of Aeon might provide assistance given his loyalty. To his dismay, Sophie coldly refuses, prioritizing the company's broader ambitions over his personal crisis. This refusal marks a turning point for Max. As the reality of losing Elena becomes imminent, he is forced to confront the ethical and moral quagmire of Aeon's system. This personal catastrophe propels him into a deeper understanding of the Atom Group's resistance and the true cost of commodifying time. Meanwhile, 40 years of Elena's life are forcefully taken from her, and Max discovers that the person who received those years is Sophie Thyssen. With each passing day, Elena ages rapidly. Tragically, she was pregnant at the time of the donation and loses the baby due to the sudden aging. Despite this, Max's love for her remains unwavering. However, Elena, now much older, questions if his love is genuine or merely born out of pity. Determined not to let their love slip away, Max refuses to give up. He learns about illegal methods to obtain lifetime donations and formulates a daring plan to kidnap Sophie and reclaim the years she stole from Elena. Max successfully kidnaps Sophie and then persuades Elena to flee Germany with him, convinced that risking everything is their only option since their lives. However, their escape does not go unnoticed. Sophie's loyal bodyguard, Kaya, along with Aeon's new head of operations in Berlin, Nowak, use advanced and illegal technology to track them. They discover that Max and Elena are taking Sophie to Lithuania. In Lithuania, Max plans to use underground contacts to perform the procedure to transfer the stolen years back from Sophie to Elena. However, the woman they kidnapped reveals a shocking twist. She claims to be not Sophie, but Sophie's daughter, Marie. Marie explains that she looks very similar to her mother, and because Sophie took 40 years from Elena and became much younger, it's difficult to verify her identity. Sophie had kept Marie hidden from the public eye, which is why no one knows about her. Max refuses to believe Marie's story, remaining convinced she is lying. He continues waiting for Dr. Berg, who is set to perform the illegal procedure to transfer the years from Marie to Elena. Meanwhile, Elena begins to have doubts and realizes that if Marie is telling the truth, they would be stealing years from an innocent woman. Meanwhile, Marie attempts to escape, but Elena catches her. During their struggle, Elena notices that Marie does not have any surgery scars, confirming that she is indeed Marie and not Sophie. Despite this evidence, Max still refuses to accept the truth. That night, Kaya and Nowak track down Max and Elena's location. However, the Adam Group reaches them first. Lilith, the leader of the Adam Group, reveals a startling truth and explains that Elena is the only compatible match that Sophie ever found. Max was originally supposed to be her donation manager and convince her to donate her years, but he fell in love with her and married her instead. Therefore, to obtain Elena's lifetime, Sophie orchestrated a deceitful plan. Lilith explains that Sophie manipulated events to push Elena into a desperate situation, making it seem like donating her years was the only solution. The fire, the denial of the insurance claim, and the mortgage issues were all part of Sophie's scheme to force Elena into a position where she would have no choice but to donate her years. Confronted with this truth, Max is devastated. The Adam Group offers them protection and a chance to fight back against Aeon's corrupt practices. Lilith believes Max and Elena are about to do the same thing to Marie that Sophie did to them. So she forces Elena into a horrifying choice: kill Marie or be killed herself. Elena, despite the immense pressure, chooses not to kill Marie. Lilith then reveals her true plan: to use Max and Elena to get to Sophie, the mastermind behind their suffering. Meanwhile, Kaya and Nowak, accompanied by a large contingent of armed men, reach the Adam Group's location, unaware that it is a trap set by Lilith. With Elena and Marie held captive, Max has no choice but to comply with Lilith's demands. Max demands to speak with Sophie personally. When Sophie arrives and steps out of her car, he convinces her to go inside with him to see Marie. However, as they move inside, Kaya, becoming suspicious, and questions Max about how he knew Sophie had arrived. When Max fails to provide a satisfactory answer, Kaya realizes it's a trap. Chaos ensues as the Adam Group springs their ambush. Lilith's forces engage Kaya, Nowak, and their men in a fierce battle. Inside, Sophie sees Marie, and the reality of the situation dawns on her. Confronted with the consequences of her actions, she faces Max and Elena. In the ensuing confrontation, Sophie admits that she had been manipulating events to create a desperate situation for Elena, ultimately leading to the forced donation of her years. With everyone now aware of the truth, the fight becomes not just about survival, but about justice. Max and Elena, driven by the need to right the wrongs done to them, team up with the Adam Group. Despite the risks, they are determined to expose Sophie and bring an end to Aeon's corrupt practices. In the end, they manage to capture Sophie, and with the help of the Adam Group, they broadcast her confession to the world. The revelation of Aeon's corrupt practices sparks outrage and leads to widespread calls for reform. Max and Elena, though scarred by their experiences, find a new purpose in fighting for a world where lifetimes are not commodities, but cherished gifts. Meanwhile, Nowak, who secretly works for the Adam Group, attempts to kill Sophie when their plan to capture her fails. He shoots Sophie but is subsequently killed by Kaya, igniting a fierce gunfight between the Adam Group and Kaya's team, resulting in Lilith's death. Amidst the chaos, Max sneaks back into the building, fighting his way through to reach Elena and Marie. As he tries to escape with both women, Marie resists, pointing a gun at Elena and pulling the trigger. Fortunately, the gun is empty. Then, Elena subdues Marie until she loses consciousness, and Max and Elena manage to escape with her. This time, Max hesitates about going through with the donation, while Elena is determined to reclaim her stolen years at any cost. Max argues that Marie is innocent and not responsible for what happened to Elena. However, Elena, knowing that Marie's DNA is compatible with hers, insists on taking back her lifetime, despite the knowledge that Marie won't be able to retrieve her years from her mother, as Sophie is now presumed dead. When Max refuses to go along with the plan, Elena threatens to kill herself if he doesn't comply. Left with no choice, Max watches helplessly as Elena takes Marie away. Elena takes Marie to Dr. Berg and witnesses her struggle and scream, just as she did when her lifetime was forcefully taken. Elena undergoes the procedure and receives 40 years of Marie's life. After the surgery, Elena sees refugee children being brought to Dr. Berg to have their lifetimes taken illegally and hurriedly leaves the place, disturbed by the sight. Meanwhile, Max arrives at a refugee camp in Lithuania, where an injured Marie is found wandering alone on the road. It turns out that Sophie is still alive, having worn a bulletproof jacket during Nowak's attack. Marie is brought back to her mother. Upon learning Marie is safe, Kaya quits her job, unwilling to continue doing Sophie's dirty work. Meanwhile, with 40 years stolen from her, Marie begins to age rapidly. Despite being a DNA match, Sophie refuses to donate 40 years to her daughter, leaving Marie to suffer the consequences of her mother's actions. Sometime later, Max sees Elena on a beach with another man. She is young again and pregnant. Meanwhile, Max, now a vigilante, has joined the Atom Group to fight against the injustices perpetuated by lifetime donations. He is committed to ending the exploitation and inequality caused by this system. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps.